For years, flight instructors have been renewing their certificate every 24 months like clockwork. Starting December 1st, big changes are coming to the flight instructor certificate. Now, the FAA is removing the expiration date from your CFI, and that's just one of the several updates to the regulation. Now, in this video, we'll break down everything you need to know about all the changes. Hi, I'm Greg from Pilot Institute, the online ground school that makes aviation easy. Now, before we get into the new rules, here's how things work now. Currently, a CFI certificate is valid for 24 calendar months from the date that it's issued or renewed. Now, to keep instructing, you need to renew it before it expires. That means paperwork and waiting for a new certificate in the mail. But starting December 1st, CFI certificates will no longer have an expiration date. Now, why did the FAA make this change? Well, one reason is to align the CFI certificate with other pilot certificates like private and commercial, which don't have expiration dates. Now, there's also a cost-saving factor, which I think is the primary reason. By not printing and mailing new certificate every 2 years, the FAA expect to save $5.6 million over 5 years. Instead of renewing your certificate, you'll now need to meet the recent experience requirement every 24 months in order to keep teaching. So how do you meet this requirement? Well, the good news is most of the ways to stay current, as outlined in 61-197, really haven't changed. Here's what's the same. You can still take a flight instructor refresher course, or FERC, either online or in person. You can also pass a practical test for any rating on your CFI certificate or add a new instructor rating. And if you've been actively instructing, you'll still need to have endorsed at least 5 students for their practical test and with at least 80% passing on their first try. And if you're working as a company check pilot, a chief flight instructor, or in a similar role under Part 121 or 135, that qualifies too. And for military instructors, passing a U.S. Armed Forces instructor pilot proficiency check within the last 24 months still works. But here's what's new. Serving as a flight instructor in an FAA-sponsored pilot proficiency program like the Wings program is now activity-based. To qualify, you'll need to complete at least one phase of the program within the last 12 months. You must also conduct 15 flight activities, evaluate at least 5 different pilots, and make the necessary logbook endorsements. So while the renewal process itself is changing, most of the ways to stay current really remain the same. And even though your certificate won't expire, you still need to document that you've met the recent experience requirement. To do this, you will submit an application to the FAA just like you did before. Now, most CFIs these days use the FAA IACRA system to submit a Form 8710 or Form 8710-11 electronically. The FAA will use this to keep their record up to date. So while it's no longer called a renewal, you still need to submit this form every 24 months to stay current. But what if you don't meet the requirements within the 24 months period? Well, a bit of a safety net has been added to 14 CFR 61-199. You get a 3 months grace period in order to complete a FERC in order to reestablish your current experience. But during that time, you cannot instruct until you've completed the course. Now, if more than 3 months have passed, you will need to pass a flight instructor practical test in order to reinstate your privileges, just like it was in the past. Now let's talk about a change in how to endorse your student's logbook. You won't need to write your certificate expiration date since there won't be one anymore. Now instead, you'll write the date your recent experience period ends, which pretty much ends up being exactly the same. Now if you're interested in training new CFI applicants, there are more ways to qualify now under 14 CFR 61-195. Traditionally, you needed to hold your CFI certificate for at least 2 years and have given at least 200 hours of flight training. Now you have additional options available. You can qualify if you've trained and endorsed at least 5 applicants for their practical test in the last 24 months, and at least 80% of them must have passed on their first try. No hours requirements needed in this case. Or you can complete an FAA-approved flight instructor enhanced qualification training program. You also need, in this case, to have given at least 200 hours of flight instruction. So what should you do now? Well, there's not much to change on your end. Keep instructing regularly and make sure that you meet the recent requirement every 24 months. Also, remember to submit an 8710, preferably via IACRA. And if you enjoy updates just like this one, subscribe to stay in the loop. Thanks for watching, and as always, fly safe.